want to talk to you guys about my second fight. I had a couple strengths and a couple weaknesses. I knew that my strengths were my power. My coach keeps telling me that, I need to let my hands go. And another one was my defense. My main strength would be my defense, right? I knew I'm quite evasive and stuff like that. So I thought, cool, those are my strengths. My weaknesses, however, I thought my fitness would be a weakness. It ended up not being a weakness in this fight, but I thought my stamina, my endurance would be a weakness because I'd just been sick. So I hadn't been training for the fight for long enough. I had like 1.5 weeks of being able to run, but before then I couldn't run basically. So I wasn't sure about my fitness. My wrists were also a weakness, so I had to pick my shots wisely. Those were my strengths and weaknesses going into this fight. My approach to this fight, I had a game plan for this fight. Unlike my first fight where I just said just go in to destroy him, this time I actually had a game plan. So I thought to myself, well, I'd love to go for the finish, but actually one comment was actually quite wise, which basically said, if you're not feeling too good, aim to win on points. Don't try to hurt your opponent. Of course, I was still going to aim to hurt my opponent, it's boxing, but I was thinking more of a strategic approach to winning on points. I thought first round, I won't be too aggressive. I'll progress forward and control the ring, and I'm going to hit him a few times to get him to respect my power. And other than that, I'm just going to focus on tiring him out, so parrying his shots, not moving my head too much because I don't want to tire myself out. Round two, my game plan was to press the action a bit more, tire him out some more, and focus more on head movement to get him even more tired, right? And in round three, I was expecting to have won round one and round two on points, and in round three I just go in straight for the kill, because if I didn't get the kill I would have still won on points, right? That's what I aimed to do. Leading up to the fight, I was quite nervous because there was 20 fights on, right? And I was the 20th fight, so I was really nervous. I was like, man, the whole time I was just, nerves were building up, and I was like, man, I didn't want to feel nervous, but I couldn't help but feel nervous because I didn't feel completely prepared. I felt like my training leading up to the fight wasn't enough, basically. So I was like, I've been sick. Will this affect me? I was able to work on my fitness for a week and a half leading up to the fight. Or do you think, being sick has affected me? Do I think my hands will hold, actually? Because when I hit the mitts leading up to the fight, my right hand felt a bit sore. I was like, oh, do I think my wrist will hold, basically? Also, this was my opponent's home show. So I was a bit nervous in anticipation of the crowd, right? And when they announced my name, the crowd booed, and I was a bit like, oh man, I don't know how easy it's going to be to actually persuade the judges. Now, let's get to the fight. All right, so round one. I go in to take my time, but I still want to be first. I still want to be active and control the ring. All right, so I was making sure I was controlling the center of the ring. I was the one doing the pursuing. I tried to take as few steps backwards as possible. So as you can see here, I wasn't focusing on head movement. I was focusing more on parrying and blocking the shots because I didn't want to tire myself out. I wanted to tire him out instead. Here, in an exchange, he kind of pressed my head down, so I just lost my equilibrium a little bit. As you can see, my focus here is solely on blocking his shots. It is not on slipping as much because I'm trying to tire him out. That's my approach. Also, another thing I was focusing on is making sure even after blocking his punches that I make sure that I do attack straight afterwards, that I don't, because I want to make sure I convince the judges. At this point, I made a mistake. I got him stepping back, and if I kept putting pressure on him, I think I could have got him. But, I stayed too close, so he was able to grab me. At this point, I was trying to punch him in the clinch, but he kept tying my hands up well, so I couldn't do much. I was trying to stay busy in the clinches anyway, but I couldn't do much. Here I made the same mistake of getting too close, because I actually should have capitalized on his vulnerable position there, but I didn't, so he was able to grab me. Here I was trying to be first in the altercations, so I was trying to hit him first a lot of the time now, rather than just wait to block, hit. I was trying to actually be first in hitting him, so that's why it was much more of a proactive approach in this round. Here I trip, so yeah, I go for a duck and then a right hand, and then on my way in, you know, he moves out the way, left hooks me, and my right foot trips on his left foot. I believe that I would have lost this round on points based off that trip. Actually, I thought I wouldn't have convinced the judges. So here you can see me taking a much more cautious approach now, because I thought, you know what, there's no point in trying to convince them after making such a mistake. I've just got to go in and win the third round. Round 3. This time I go in straight for destruction. So you know what? I'm gonna finish him, because you know that's the game plan. You know, I'm gonna finish him. If I don't, I think I won round 3, so I'll win on points. And here I'm getting really frustrated because he keeps grabbing me. I didn't anticipate the amount of grabbing, so I was going in to kill, and then I kept just getting grabbed, which was really bugging me at this point. Here I am genuinely just so frustrated with the grabbing, because it was so annoying. There was a couple times where I could tell I got him rocked and I just couldn't capitalize, because he was doing an amazing job at tying me up, right? You know what I mean? Like closing the gap just before I could do any proper damage. So you can see me trying to show my hands to the ref, showing, look, I'm not the one doing the holding. And as you can see in my face, I'm actually just tired. I didn't actually feel that tired, like physically. I was just annoyed with the clinches, because it was smart. He genuinely just completely absolved my game plan. But that's it for the fight. Now, pause the video, right? Don't watch any further. I want to know what you guys think of this fight. How would you score this fight? How many rounds would you think I won? How many rounds do you think I lost? And who won the fight overall? Now, let's go to the judges' decision. I lost. And my opinion on that decision is quite, you know, whatever. It didn't feel like a loss. It was quite weird. You know, when I was standing there, I was like, let's see what's gonna happen, you know, whatever. Because as I said, I tried to go for the finish the last round, but he kept clinching me, so I couldn't do anything. So I was just getting frustrated near the end. And so I was just standing there, I was like, all right, cool. It's his home show. He might get a decision. If they say split decision, then I'm pretty sure it's him. But I was just in anticipation. The minute they said by unanimous decision, I was like, oh, snap. All right. So I think I've won this. And then they said in the red corner, I was like, oh, snap. Okay, never mind. I was just kind of taken back, because I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense to me. And I was kind of just a bit confused, because I went with the exact game plan. Like, I executed the exact way I planned on executing. Apart from tripping in the second round, right? And I was a bit confused, like, okay, maybe did they score the trip as a knockdown? But the ref quite clearly said it was a trip, or he said, you know, slip. So I was a bit confused. I was trying to understand how I lost. I watched the fight so many times that night, And so many times I was so confused. I was just like, whatever. And right now I'm actually just told myself not to care, because at the end of the day, it happened. Whether I think I won or I think I lost, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I lost, right? And this isn't uncommon in amateur boxing anyway. So it has changed my approach to future fights. To be honest, I never felt like a win on points was an actual win. I know this sounds weird. It is, obviously, but unless it's extremely dominant, it doesn't feel like that. Like my first fight, it didn't feel like much of a win, believe it or not. I was actually quite disappointed in myself after my first fight, hence why I apologize to my viewers. And with this fight, although I still feel like it was a wrong decision by the judges, it still doesn't feel like a win, even if they ended up saying I won the fight. So my approach for the future fights will be to go for the knockout. I didn't want to go for the knockout to begin with, because I thought that's what everyone who has power does. You know, they just don't focus on actual pure boxing and just focus on trying to finish their opponents. And alongside that, I didn't think it was common in amateur boxing anyway, because you have like 3 2-minute rounds, which is basically 3 professional rounds, and 2 professional rounds, you know what I mean, which you don't really see people drop people in 2 rounds commonly in professional boxing, especially with the gloves being a bit heavy and stuff like that. I was like, I didn't really think it was going to happen, but I've actually, after this fight and after the decision, I've actually changed my approach, and I will never ever aim to leave it to the judges again. So if ever it's left to the judges, that's not my goal anymore. My goal will always be to knock out my opponent. So I'm gonna change my approach to my training and my approach to my future fights. I think rather than being reserved in the first round and second round and stuff like that, I'm gonna just go in, you know what I mean, trust in my stamina, because I didn't get tired this fight. So I'm gonna trust in my stamina, because there was a point in the first round where I got him in the corner, but because of my game plan being leave it, tire him out, don't go in for the kill, I left him and I literally let him leave the corner. So I've got to work on that. I've still got to work a lot on my footwork, because there was a point where I tripped up. I went for a duck to then throw a right hand, and then as I did that, he moved and threw a left hand, and my right foot tripped on his front foot. My back foot tripped on his front foot. I got to work on that, basically. So I've got to work on that. Things like that, I just need to tidy up my boxing, and yeah. So I am sorry to those of you who I've disappointed. I hope I at least impressed you with actually fighting clean this time without just swinging wild punches and stuff like that. And I will be back. I'll be posting my 3rd fight as well. All right, it's Beautiful Flex, and I'm out.